Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about data privacy and shadow AI. So you may be familiar with the term shadow IT. So shadow IT is a phenomenon where people within an organization are using tools or techniques that may not be sanctioned by their companies. I think shadow IT got worse once people went into the cloud, where it was easier for them to go outside, just go to a website, log in, upload data, or put data into tools that were not sanctioned by the organization. So what AI has done is make that worse, it seems. There's actually a report out by Cyberhaven. It's called the AI Adoption and Risk Report. And in that report, they said that the statistic in terms of the amount of sensitive data that employees are putting into public models are going up. Actually, the percentage was up 156%, so that's huge. They say a vast majority of this use is people putting data into public models like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft. So the types of data that they found that employees were putting into these public models included things like customer data, source code, research and development, legal documents, human resource records. These are all things that should not be in public models. Employees should not put those in public models. The issue is that when we think about security, we can't think about it like a castle where you can shut the door or put a moat around a castle and then AI is not going to come into the organization. AI is in organizations whether you know it or not. If people have access to the internet, they can get onto those tools. Even for companies that block these particular tools in-house or on company computers, people still have their own personal phones, they have their own personal email accounts and things like that. So I think it is incumbent upon businesses to really drive home the point of what the risks are for individuals that they're putting in confidential proprietary information into public models, what those risks are in terms of what their customer data is, what their risks are in terms of what regulators would think about this thing. I think that also an additional risk is that we've already seen a couple of these big players especially in the generative AI space, have already had data breaches. So for people who are putting data into models that may have been breached, some of that proprietary, confidential, sensitive information could possibly be matched with people's ID, and it can be perhaps enough information to make maybe a phishing email that comes to someone seem a lot more realistic. So being able to really educate people about what should or shouldn't go into models, being able to have people understand how they can and can't use these particular public models, even for companies that have their own LLMs or their own large language models in-house, it decreases the risk somewhat, but companies still have the risk of things like internal access or unauthorized access, where maybe someone, for example, let's say if you have a model, you have a lot of data in the model, maybe there's some, for example, some HR information in there that someone from marketing shouldn't see. So that creates like an internal access issue that companies really need to think about. I think in the future, we need to move away from the castle analogy in terms of protecting data and really educate employees about not only the risks, but what they can do with AI and what are the types of things that they can use AI for, and have them do it in ways that do not create more risk or more harm for organizations and for individuals whose data they have in their possession. That's it. Thank you.